Hell no. Look where you found yourself. This is Hammer Away, and I'm Viking Stew. Let's get hammered.
Let's do it.
What's up, guys? This is Jaron Galino with Lynch Mob, and I'm hanging with Viking Stew on the Hammer Away show.
Welcome back. It's time for Hammer Away because today is Tuesday. How about that? That's Tuesday. Now, today's the first day that we're going to do this. It's an afternoon ignite. How about that? Kind of a little something to get you keep it rolling.
Can you dig it?
Oh, that's right. So what we're going to do here is kind of give you something if you're here in the afternoon. And I got a story behind this. So let's talk about this here in a second. But what we're going to talk about in the beginning here, we're going to kind of open chat whatever you want to talk about. But first, we're going to talk about this. Megadeth is going to be MegaDONE. People have been covering this. And hi. People have been covering this last couple of days. So I'm sure everybody's, heard about it by now. If it's something that you care about, I had to wear my burning witches today because I was just seeing a post from Courtney Cox, and I threw out another line there because she is one rockin, not a ginger. She's not a ginger. She is a strawberry blonde. So anyway, that's what she made mention to me. So should we just start with this maybe as maybe what we ought to do? Hang on, watch this.
Some say this is the end of times.
Erupting! We need to go! Get out of the cities. It's over.
This will be our last broadcast.
This is Vic Rattlehead. For over 4 decades, I've been chained in silence. But the end demands my voice. It is confirmed the next Megadeth studio album will be the last. 40 years of metal, forged in steel, ending in fire. And when the new year rises, the global farewell tour. You've heard the warning. Now prepare yourself, Cyber Army. Stay loud, stay tuned, and meet me on the front lines.
So there you have it. That is pretty wild. I'm hoping that everything was in here. I do have this this piece. Let's see which one we've got here. Make sure we get the right one. So yeah, in a big old statement, final album and a global farewell tour. This just came out on the 14th. It says, so there's so many musicians that have come to the end of their career, whether accidental or intentional. I think it would be accidentally or intentionally, but that's just me. That's my Dr. Seuss moment for the day. So you're welcome. Most of them don't get to go out on their own terms on top. And that's where I'm at in my life right now. I have traveled the world and have made millions upon millions of fans. And the hardest part of all of this is saying goodbye to them. But we can't wait for you to hear this album and see us on tour. If there was ever a perfect time for us to put out a new album, it's now. If there is ever a perfect time to tour the world, it's now. This is also a perfect time for us to tell you that it's our last studio album. We've made a lot of friends over the years, and I hope to see all of you on our global farewell tour. Don't be mad. Don't be sad. Be happy for us all. Come celebrate with me these next few years. Oh, these next few years. So it's going to go on for a while. So we have done something together that's truly wonderful and will probably never happen again. We started a musical style. We started a revolution. We changed the guitar world and how it's played. And we changed the world and changed the world. The bands I've played in, or in which I've played, have influenced the world. I love you all for it. Thank you for everything. Dave Mustaine. So how about that? Started a long time ago with this. Killing is my business. So there's an original of that, and then they remastered it, and this came out. This is the one that I purchased, and then they've more recently. I mean, it's not super recent. I think it's 2018. They did this new limited edition with the altered artwork. But I wasn't originally into them. When I was in college, P-Cells came out, and the P-Cells video was out there on MTV, and I was like, I wasn't into Dave's voice. It's really what it came down to. I wasn't into that. I mean, I was a big Metallica fan, and things were moving along from that, but there were all kinds of bands. Anthrax was out there, and all these other bands were out there. So, but I didn't dig it. And the albums progressed, Rust in Peace, and they just kept coming out, but and they had the videos for them, and let's see which one. Where's the other one here? Sometimes not everything comes. Yeah, there it is. So then I think it was Cryptic Writings, right? I wanted to check this ahead of time, but man, it just takes some time to try to get everything together, right? So anyway, but I think it was Cryptic Writings. I'm just going to check it out real quick and get it. No, it was not. I thought it was Cryptic Writings. Okay. So it was. All right, now I'm a little confused on which one it was. So anyway, it was right in that time frame, and I'm getting that fun little. There it is. Yeah, right. No, that's not. Okay, that's not from where it is originally. Is that really on World Needs a Hero? Is that right? Dread and the Fugitive Mind came out nonetheless. All right. And I fell in love with that song when I heard it, because Casey had, they usually would have all these singles and CDs and things like that. And so then I would get in on that, and Al Hofer at the time, which I just get boxes of these CDs, whether they were singles or full albums, whatever it is. Metal Torso, what's going on? Used to listen to Megadeth all the time, but it's been a while. Well, it's time to get it out, because like I say, I started listening to them when I heard Dread and the Fugitive Mind. Then they were going to be playing in Chicago, and that's when they had recently, prior to that, dropped all of the new remasters, and so then I started buying them up. So that's where I got Killing and P-Cells, all that. They had them. I went to Rolling Stones Records, great shop up in Chicago. If you've never been there, they have some cool artwork all the way around, which was most of it or all of it. It's airbrushed, so they have these almost, in certain instances, most instances, they have life-size airbrush paintings of musicians from way back and all the way through. to a certain point. But you know, they had like Tina Turner, and this guy did a great job. And they're all over the place up there. They're out in front of the store, inside the store, all that stuff. So, so anyway, I was thinking it was Cryptic Writings, but that's weird because it was right around the same time frame, and nonetheless. So anyway, but they have all these things, and loved the store, and I bought as many of them as I could when I was there, and at that point became a huge fan of the band. And then I would go to when the System Has Failed came out. Where did I have that cover? I dumped all these in here. It is. And that's not it. That looked like it was it. And that's it. So when this one came out, then I was going to Nashville to what's called the NAMM show. St. Louis Music had sent me down there to work at the booth. And Dave was there, so I had a few minutes. So I stepped away and met up with him there. And he signed a single for me for Kick the Chair. And it's a great song. I really enjoyed this album. I don't know, for anybody out there that's a huge fan of the band, you know, just, you know, chime in. Let me know what your favorite song is, favorite album, any of that. Trying to see. So subsequently, I went on and started getting into all the records. World Needs a Hero had come out, and Dave Ellefson was the first person to sign my bass, actually, right here. Let's no, okay, let's not do that. I'll show that to you later, or else I'm going to lose everything. All right. So anyway, on the headstock of this, my first bass ever, on the back of the headstock, Dave Ellefson signed that when they were touring through for World Needs a Hero. And he was down at McMurray Music, which doesn't exist anymore. And that's where I got that bass. So it was pretty cool. And then, hey, what's up, Salvatore? How are you? And thanks for popping in yesterday, too. I hope you enjoyed that yesterday with Rob. So then I talked with Dave. He did that. Then Dave left. Well, in the meantime, I was there at the NAMM show I was telling you about in Nashville, right? Met Dave Mustaine there. This is kind of weird. Huh. This is kind of weird. I never even thought about it this way. So I'm there, meet Dave Mustaine. Then I met up with James McDonough from Ice to Earth. And we met, we kept in touch. We would, you know, we'd keep in touch on the phone or through emails, whatever. And then Ice to Earth came through, and I saw him play there with them. And then he tells me soon after that he's going to be joining Megadeth because Dave was out and he was going to be the new one. So he got in there and did the next tour. He did that for System Has Failed. And then I went and saw them with my son over across the way at Pops. That was a fantastic show, man. We had to get out of the front. We were right down in front, and people were shoving, and I was like, I had to get him out of there because he was like 13 at the time, maybe something like that. And that was a fantastic show. Then Jimmy was out of the band. And then we saw them again. Let's see, what was it? Oh, and that just kind of freaked me out because when we got there, they were going to be bringing in Nick again, was going to be coming back into the band on drums. But then when Jimmy was going to go out and do rehearsals, he would never want to do that. He never practiced. But, you know, he wanted to be, I don't know. Jimmy, of course, not wanting to rock the boat, was kind of wondering what in the hell was going on with Mensa. So by the time they got to, I believe it was Phoenix, where they were going to do some rehearsals together, as a band, Nick wasn't ready, and it was like, what the hell? And that's when he was like, well, I don't know, man. I just tried to get him ready, and he would never get together. So, but it also was a big challenge for Jimmy at the time because he'd never played with a pick before. And of course, all this Megadeth stuff is tight with the pick pluck. So it's a different sound. So he was having to learn how to use a pick and learn all the songs in a speedy fashion. So pretty crazy. And just a big challenge. But man, he killed it. He did a great job. And I was glad we got out of the concert alive. I'd never seen a guy with a more rabid look on his face. So soon after that, then they were moving along, and they started the Gigantour. And so I was able to secure us a spot going to that through Symphony X. And so that was great to be able to be there and see that and do that. But the other I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm going to step back again. The thing that kind of freaked me out about that tour was that I thought Nick was going to be at Pops at that show, and I get there, and no, on guitar there was Sean Drover, and then his brother was on drums, and I was just like, wow, Glenn. So I was Glenn Drover on guitar, right? Sean on drums. Anyway, so it was just weird. It kind of blew me away. I was like, well, none of these guys are who I expected to be here. But yeah, it was a great show. Killer songs. Here's another great one of their So Far So Good, So What. These unfortunately never come in order, but I've collected all these albums over the years. Dystopia, Endgame. I did not get this Greatest Hits. I didn't need it. Hidden Treasures, though, yes. And I do love this new album cover. This is really cool. That is really cool. Then, of course, they put out the anthology piece, The Sick and the Dying and the Dead. And Super Collider was another one that came out in there. 13, of course. There's World. And, of course, United Abominations. So these are all very, very cool. So I don't know. I'll be sad to see that end, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is when you've got what he's saying in this statement is perfect. He's at a point in his life where he's like, I've traveled the world, and it's not like it's done tomorrow. They're going to be touring for a while to do this world tour. So it'll be a few years. So it'll be time to be done. One of these done. So I think there's a lot of that needs to be happening now. We were talking about it a little bit yesterday about how some folks need to really not do it because it doesn't sound good. And they know it doesn't sound good. There's a lot of people out there besides me that know it doesn't sound good. And I'm not bitching about them either, because I get it. You're doing what you love and you want to keep doing what you love. But when you're doing what you love and it doesn't sound good, then you need to not end as a joke. Not for me. It's not a joke to me when I watch these people and it's not panning out as well as it should, I think. It's more about having your own personal dignity. And, I feel sorry for those folks when they're out there struggling like that. And it's like, really? Is that what you want to leave behind? So yeah, it's kind of sad. On another note, you have James Lomenzo here at the end. And I've been watching reruns of The Amazing Race, and James Lomenzo is on there with his brother and on there. And it was kind of wild. It was really wild. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that he was on there. Then Burning Witches, like I say, Inquisition is getting ready to come out, and there's Courtney with her Merciful Fate shirt on. And then I had this. Here is the new. This is the new album. They got the pre-order happening right now, so be sure and get out there and check that out. If you haven't checked out Burning Witches, I'm telling you, do it. It's fantastic. Great metal. Another great band is Thunder Mother. Check them out too. So they've got all kinds of ways you can get it: CD, vinyl, and check them out on tour when they're out there. They're over in Europe, I do believe, right now, and so that's pretty cool. So, all right, so let's move along. But again, if you have more to say about Megadeth, let me know, because that would be. Let's see. No, okay. I also have our special guest that I'm going to let him know anytime. Anytime you're ready. How about that? Boom. All right. So what I do have is these. I've been wanting to finish this project with you guys for a while now. I finally did the last lamination the other day. I did the last couple of laminations, which was the end of the alphabet. But I've had these dividers that I want to get together. So we'll see if we finish this today. I don't know whether we will or not, but I'm going to leave it open chat. So if you guys, while I'm here, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you're still having issues about the Ozzy thing, it's kind of funny because I just put Ozzy on the phone last night, and let's see what we got here. Yeah, let's see if I can. So I got a couple of, one of my favorite images of Ozzy is when he's they had it on the Tribute live album, is when Ozzy's picking up Randy Rhoads with the guitar in his hands. I just think that's a fantastic photo. That's a great photo. So I was actually looking at, and I wanted to ask you guys too, has anybody out there checked out Temu? And you can tell me whether it's legit or whether it's, don't do it or what. I don't know. They have some killer frickin' deals out there right now. And I was just going through some of them this morning, which is what threw me off and threw me a little late in trying to get all my stuff done. So so just let me know, because I'm kind of going in there, and they have some crazy deals in there. So Temu, Temu. If anybody has any advice on that as to whether or not it's a good thing to do or not. So what I have is these. If you remember, it's been a little while. So I did all of these little divider pieces, and I have this really nice heavy-duty stock, which I think somebody was throwing it away. And these are from a file, and it's really thick. So I was like, these will be perfect. They fit all the way in there, and this can just stick off of the end. Now, I didn't do the tall end. I did this end, and I think they're a little short. They're a little short or something, but they'll work nonetheless. And I guess I'll just cut off part of it. Unless I just leave it. I don't know. I can do that. I'm open. And then I just had scissors, so they're there. So, of course, the question is always, when you're doing a project like this, is, what is going to represent each of the letters? So think about that. If you have your vinyl collection and you're going to do separators like this to keep them easy to find, where the A's begin and end, and where the B's begin and end, and all that stuff, what would you use? I mean, for B, the other one that would have been really cool is Boston. Would have been neat, but a lot of people can't handle Boston anymore. I got a buddy of mine who's really, I've got a couple of friends who really don't like listening to Boston anymore because the radio has ruined them. So, but yeah, I'm gonna cut these here, and then I'm gonna cut them a little close at the ends here, because the inner side of this will then open and go around, you know, the other piece. So, but AC/DC's Highway to Hell, it just had to be for the A's. I just love that one. Although I could have done Angel. Angel would be a great choice as well. I also have to remember I do have to do one of those other ones that I had over there. I should have brought me a garbage can. Oh, there's one right there. I'll go grab it. Of course, I'm just going to throw that over there. And we'll just do this. How's everybody's day going? I hope it's going well. I got a gig coming up next month, and getting ready to do the set list for it. We do everything from like Thin Lizzy to Badfinger to the Black Keys, Bryan Adams. Let's see what else we got here. Free or Blackfoot, whichever one you want to do. Wishing Well. We do some Bon Jovi. We do quite a few songs by the Dead Daisies, and that's one of my favorites to do. Temu is legit, but crap products. Okay. All right. So, like, have you gotten something from their Torso? And if so, was it crap? We do ZZ Top as well. We do a little bit of Queen. Let's see, little Joan Jett, some Beatles. There's a song called a lot of you guys probably know the song Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. I originally heard that done by Whitesnake. They did it live. And then what's it called? It's a long name. Supersonic Blues Machine did a cover of it recently, and so I heard that, and I'm like, that's a real good version, and I can always pull in, you know, whatever influence I want. No, you watch videos of people buying their stuff. Okay, all right, yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, they have. I mean, I just wonder about, because they have vinyl out there and everything. Temu's got vinyl. They've got the certain toy stuff out there that's rock related, you know, like Ace Frehley, you know, figures and all that stuff. So, and then they yeah, but having vinyl, I mean, I just was like, wait, what? But they got all these clothes and blankets, and I mean, really, I mean, you know, obviously it looks really cool when you're looking at it online. You're like, that's a bitch and kiss blanket, or, you know, whatever. So I was like, eh. And some of the shirts are like super cheap. I mean, super cheap. And then they have buttons and stuff like that. It was making me think, oh, okay, mostly bootleg stuff, huh? All right, I get that. Anybody ever bought any bootleg stuff at a bootleg t-shirt at a concert? I mean, let's face it. It is, you know, it's tempting, right? You know, I remember back in the day when I went and saw Scorpions in Springfield, Illinois, and I didn't know any different. Now, I mean, that's no excuse. I'm not, and I don't just say that now and go, well, I didn't know. No, I didn't know. I really didn't know. This was my third concert, and out of town, and there's somebody on the side of the street there before we get to the venue that's selling a Scorpion like baseball jersey style shirt, and just shit quality, you know, just like you're talking about, Torso. Shit quality shirt. It started falling apart, you know. I still own it. It's, you know, but I didn't know. I just thought, oh, they're selling t-shirts outside. So I never even thought about it. But recently when I went and saw Kiss, you know, I bought a shirt inside, you know, it was expensive. It's $50 for a freaking long sleeve tee. I'm like, okay. I love the design. It looked really good. So I'm like, all right. But damn, $50 for a freaking t-shirt. So, because I remember the days back when I saw, you guys may remember this. I may have said this before. But back in the day, I went to go see Def Leppard on the Pyromania tour. And opening up was Quiet Riot and Uriah Heep. Uriah Heep played first. They were on tour for their Head First album, which had The Other Side of Midnight was the song off of there. And then they also had a cover of Bryan Adams. I don't quite know why, because it was too soon for them to cover that song as far as I was concerned. But anyway, they did it. So they had so there you go, AC/DC, and then it opens up, and I'll just wrap that around the other thing, Bowie. And then I have my autograph vinyl as well. I had to do one for my autograph vinyl. And then that has some of the pictures of autograph vinyl that I have, like Alice Cooper and Quiet Riot. Speaking of Quiet Riot, Dokken, the Outfield, Scatterbrain. That's not Scatterbrain. Is that Scatterbrain? That is Scatterbrain. Huh. What do you know? Stars, of course, Angel. Let's see, Doobie Brothers, Cinderella, The Fix. That was one of my favorite nights out and about. And Atlanta Rhythm Section, and Striper. Ooh, and Peter Frampton, and Zebra. Huh, and Steeler. No Keel, though. I don't see Keel on there. And Y&T. Wow. Memories. So anyway, where was I? So anyway, I went to this farewell tour for Kiss, right? And I bought the shirt, and then we were leaving, and we had seen plenty of these, you know, the bootleg guys out in the parking lot as we went in. And then we were leaving, and the guy showed up at the car. The window was down. My friend had her window open, and the guy leans in, and he's like, he tells me how much, and I'm like, no. And I said, I got, what did I say? I think I told him I have $10. And he goes, ugh. He grunts and he walks off. And within 10 seconds, he was back at the window. What'd you say? What size did you say you needed? So I threw him $10 and got a shirt. So anyway, so you say what you will, but you know, I'm just a guy with a $10 bill, you know, and I bought the shirt inside. So anyway, but you wonder how many of those shirts they go home with, you know. I'm just like, geez whiz. You're putting a lot into that. So we have Chicago for the C. There you go. My son actually just recently, this past weekend, the record sale up in Evanston, up there north of Chicago by Skokie, Illinois, was open. So Dustin had his shop open, which is his garage, and he does it once a month. So be sure, if you're up in that area, be sure and check out the record sale. You can find them on Facebook, and he's got some good used stuff. I actually had given him, my son took them over, some CD cases so he could change them out. So check out the record sale. Looking forward to getting back out to the record stores. I'm going to start talking with the different people here. So when you come and travel into the St. Louis area, you'll be able to see where you should go, where some of the record stores are, and you'll have an understanding. I should illustrate a map for you. Maybe that's what I should do. Because the ones that I remember, there's the Record Exchange, which is down in a old library down off of Hampton. Then there's the there's another one. Why can't I remember the name of it now? There's one out in Hawks Nest Plaza, which is out in St. Charles. There's also Frenchtown Records, which is down towards Soulard, toward the city area, and that's a really good one. There's two more that are on that are kind of downtown southern side a little bit. There's Joe's Records, which Phil X was just there the other day, is my understanding, and that's down way down South County. And so there's that one. There's, what else is there here record wise? I think they have some at V Stock, is my understanding. I think they have some there. All right, C, D, E, and F. So D, I went with Dokken, of course, the D from Dokken. That was pretty cool. This is artwork from their live album, which is at my house here. It's autographed. That's one of them I got autographed. I ended up getting that record from the gentleman, Steve, I believe is his name, and he worked for Elektra Records. And so I went down to his place, and I don't know where he is anymore. I don't know if he's still, what he's doing these days. It's kind of interesting. I wish I had his number. So we're doing E and F right now. Who would you use for E and F if you were doing your, you could do Fleetwood Mac, you could do Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which really, well, I could have used it, I suppose. Yeah. They had an iconic E, I suppose, when they did their ELP logo. I could have done that, but I didn't. I went with something a little more colorful, a little more, people would say commercial, and I went with ELO. So I put that, that's the inside of Out of the Blue, the gatefold. That they ended up not doing a gatefold later, I do believe, and then we did Boogie Motel by Foghat for the F. Could have done Fleetwood Mac, could have done Fix. The Fix is tough though, and Fleetwood Mac is tough because they didn't have like a signature F. I suppose Fleetwood Mac had that curvy one, right? Kind of looked like a bass clef, which was kind of similar to the Foghat, I think. So anyway, what's another F we could have used? Frampton didn't ever really have a signature F thing. Could have used, well, see, I just realized that this Foghat F is very kind of reminiscent of the Fender F. So there you go, and there you have it. I should know because I just wore a Fender shirt 3 days in a row. It's on the show. So tell me what you guys are into lately. Is anybody listening to anything good? Torso, Salvatore, you guys listening to anything specific these days? Do you get stuck on a certain thing? Or I know you guys are gamers too. So do you guys ever listen to something specific when you're playing games, or do you just listen to the game music? Because a lot of people, even more than me, even though I'm a music head, a lot of people who are into games dig the music that the game comes with, you know, and they'll know it. They'll buy the soundtracks of some of the games. My son has purchased soundtracks from the games on vinyl. And I think that's great. I think there is some fantastic music out there. There's some music that maybe not everybody thinks is fantastic, but it sure is. Some of it's just nostalgic. And there's become other versions of those songs, like the Mario theme. There's heavy metal versions of the Mario theme out there. Just some crazy adaptations of some of these songs. And that's fantastic. I love that. But I don't always remember all the music. Somebody's like, oh, I love the music in this track for playing Mario Kart or something like that. And I'm just kind of, I don't remember exactly what it sounds like. Because a lot of times I'll just make my own playlist, which I'll pull those out sometime and I'll show you what I did. I've done those. And then I've also done, back in the day, a little more, earlier on in the home gaming situation, I would make some with industrial metal bands on them, and just love doing those. And then you just kind of hang out there and play some games with some hellacious music. What did I used to call those? I had a name for that series. And but then I put together Need for Speed. I put together those, you know, soundtracks, whether it was a playlist. So here we have H. We did H, and this is one of the shirts. Actually, I was looking at it on Temu, is they had a 3D print of Halloween's Keeper of the Seven Keys. Keeper of the Seventh Key. It's just a great record. Both of them were. They had a follow-up album that was really good too. Halloween, man, some great stuff. Great stuff. Great vocals. That's my big thing. It's about the vocals. It could be metal, but it's got to have great vocals. I didn't cut that one close enough. Oh, I see what happened here. So Halloween, and then definitely not Halloween. However, Halloween is a prog metal band. And speaking of prog, Genesis. So this is the old G from back, like with, what do I want to say? What's the album that I have? Foxtrot, that time frame, right about in there. Still was Peter Gabriel time. But then I overlaid that over the top of Duke. That's such a great record. Such a great piece of art on that album. If you've never heard Duke by Genesis, it's fantastic. Got a couple of major great songs on there that I'd love to play, but the whole album, it's got Misunderstanding is on there. All right, we're going to get heavy now again, because we have I and J. So you can only imagine who I did for I. It was a gimme. And those of you who've seen this already, I went through these a long time ago. And then it was too busy on getting everything together to sit down and do this. Because then you know how it goes. You're like, well, it's a lie to say I didn't have time. Because I had time. There were times where I could have sat down and done it. But those are the times you just want to piss off. There we go. So our I, we have some, of course, Iron Maiden. All the different Eddies up there. Fantastic stuff. Not all of them, but some of them are, well, they're not Derek Riggs. Let's just put it that way. Not all of them are Derek Riggs, but some of the later ones were still really good. But not the one in between. Not the X Factor. Ugh. That was a sad time for me. Let me know in the comments below if that was a sad time for you when they had Blaze Bayley fronting the band. maybe you loved it. And to that, I say, good on you. You know, I couldn't like it. I really disliked it a lot. There was no dynamic to the vocals. They weren't good. He wasn't on all the time, and you could tell. And I just was completely, and I would like to think that if I was talking to Steve Harris about it, that I would man up and just say, Steve, what in the hell were you thinking when you hired that guy? Who else did you try out? Did you think of anybody else? There's my Jay, of course, from Judas Priest. So I don't know. Tell me if you guys were as miffed about that as I was, or if you liked it. Because again, that's fine. If you dug it, then you dug it. I mean, that's cool. Some people, you know, like I said earlier, some people dig on the fact that they get to see their favorite rock stars and they don't really pay attention or care how they sound. Being a singer is not an easy thing. I mean, you're either on or you're off. And when you're off, it sucks. But I guess it's the same for guitar players and singers, or drummers and singers. I mean, anything. It's, if you have a day where you're not playing up to snuff, then that's a shitty day. And somebody's going to go, man, that was great. And you're like, well, I'm glad you thought so. Kind of like me and that Blaze Bailey thing. If you liked it, well, I'm glad you did. Then for you, there was no break in the Iron Maiden years of quality music. So that's cool. It's like my friend who loves Star Wars. Metal, Torso, loves Star Wars. And they have that childlike love of Star Wars. So no matter how shitty I think a movie is, they love it. They'll watch it again and again. Because to them, they don't see it that way. And that's great. That is perfectly fine. And they're like, well, it's going to upset you if I say it. I don't care. It doesn't upset me if you like what you like. And you get to, especially, I feel happy for you because you get to enjoy more Star Wars than I ever did. Because I can't take it. That shit is shit. So there we go. Of course, Kiss for K. We have to do Kiss and Love Gun. Even though, you know, Destroyer would seem like the album you wanted. But Destroyer wasn't an album that I owned at the time. Love Gun, I got that one when it came out. By the time I was really into them, Rock and Roll Over and Destroyer and then Rock and Roll Over had already come out. And I was really into Rock and Roll Over. I don't know when I got a copy of that, but I did. I have it. But we went, as I was mentioning yesterday, we went to church camp in 1977. Wait, that's not right. 77. Maybe I just got into it the next year. Maybe it was in 78 when we went, because I was at home in 77. I went and saw Star Wars at the theater. So I don't know. So K for Kiss. I was loving it yesterday when Rob was talking about his aunt sending him a drum kit and a copy of Kiss Double Platinum on vinyl. He was talking about wanting to get a new print of it. All right, so there we go. L, had to do Living Color for that one. That was pretty cool. Again, just looking for, you know, bands that have an interesting font to make it, you know, so when you see that font, you're like, oh, I know what that is. Yeah. So here comes one that's going to be exactly like that for you. You'll know exactly who that's going to be. Of course, we just finished up with K and L. for those of you just joining, we're doing our project finally, and doing the vinyl dividers. So I'll take a picture of these when I'm done, and I'll show you how it turned out. And I'm glad to have gotten all my vinyl around the corner, or around the other side of the wall, which is what we were waiting to try to do the other night when we got done with the Rod Stewart show over there at what I call normally would call a whore building, because it's whoever's leasing it, they call it that. And I think that's terrible. For the reason that you don't get to share that with your kids. You know, I've said it before, and when you see a band at a certain venue back in the day, like I saw people at Kiel Auditorium, and then my kids were born, and by the time they were going to concerts at those places, it was the Savas Center or now it's, I don't know, whatever the hell it is, the Enterprise Dome or whatever. And that's why I just call them whore buildings, because they're whoever owns it or whoever's leasing it, they get to call it that. And you're like, okay. I think I cut that one a little too tight. Oh no, I guess not. Perfect. So M, see, there you go. There's that M. You know that's Metallica. You know. So got some artwork there from the And Justice for All album, the illustration from inside. And N, of course, kind of cool. Ted Nugent. This is one of my favorite album covers of all time. This album cover, they ran a full page ad in Playboy magazine back in the day for that. I don't know how I know that, but I think somebody told me. So anyway. So thank goodness though for the O. You know, I didn't make a mistake there. There was only one choice for the O for me. And it's so apropos right now. You know, I had a friend of mine I was talking to the other day about Metallica, speaking of Metallica. And he was mentioning he didn't like anything after the Black album, and he really only liked about half of the Black album. I'm like, wow. He started to use the phrase, I didn't like Load, I didn't like Reload. I'm like, yep, same. I'm in the same boat. I didn't like those either. But then, so there you go. O for Ozzy. It's the only choice. And you have multiple choices too for that. Let's see. Oh, ha ha ha. Yeah, I forget about that. Dadgummit. So yeah. Anyway, I noticed that I used the newer O from Ozzy. I didn't use the classic O. I guess I could have done that. That is one of my favorite Ozzy albums, though. Is The Ultimate Sin. I love that record. I think it's a great record. That one, and you know, I'm not. I do, you know, Dire of a Madman though. I like it better than Blizzard. But Blizzard is fantastic, and all the albums. That's the beauty of it, you know, with Ozzy, especially in those early years. Every one of them was a good album, not a great album all the time, but a solid, really good record. Bark at the Moon, I just, you know, so tired, just really threw me off. I just was like, are you serious with me? It is in no way, shape, or form as good as the ballads that he'd already done. Kind of like when Kiss reunited and they tried to put a ballad on Psycho Circus and it was horrid. And you're like, why are you trying to relive Beth? So P Pink Floyd. There you go. Animals. It's my son's favorite Pink Floyd album and mine. Let's see. Oh, is this? Oh, yeah, okay. I just already cut these apart. So I'll wait on those. So you can see those in a minute. So that takes care of the O and the P. Now we're on to Q and the R. We're getting there. We're almost done. This is fantastic. Be sure and chime in if you like and subscribe. That way we can get some really awesome guests in here. I've got so many great guests. One of which is Alan Cookser from Rev It Up. He was really cool when he stopped on in. And actually, I've invited him to show up today. And they just did a gig the other night. And I kind of wanted to talk to him about it because they played at the Whiskey opening for Faster Pussycat. And so I was hoping to see how that went. He said it went really well. So, do you guys get crap phone calls these days? So many spam calls coming these days. And it just, ugh. Like, could you just stop? All right. Pull it open. Come on. I hope everybody's pets are doing well out there too. So for R, I went R to Q because I put them in that way. So we got Little Rush, an R from the first album, and the album cover of the second album, Fly By Night. I hope everybody's who has pets, I hope they're doing well. I have a concern about my cat right now. And I hope he does well. I hope he's going to do well. He's having little issues with eating. So I hope everybody's pets are doing well. It's tough when they're on that kind of thing. And I got an appointment, but the appointment's, you know, it's never soon enough, right? They're like, well, I can get you in then. And you're like, well, I kind of really need to know now. Unless you want to do an arm and a leg. Go to the emergency. But, monkeys. And then Q, of course, for Queen. Of course, I could have done Queensryche, but Queensryche didn't have like a distinctive Q. I mean, how many distinctive Qs are there? I don't know. S, of course, is a band that'll be here this weekend, or this week, shall we say. And that's Styx. I did the background of the Grand Illusion, and there were small differences in that S throughout the years, but not too much. And of course, Twisted Sister for the T. I don't know who else. I don't know who else has a distinctive T, but I mean that bone T. That is so cool. Had to do that. Had to do that. Now we're moving on. We got a U and a V. I mean, you already know who I'm going to pick for the V. But the U, that's the question. Who would you pick for a U that might have had a distinct U? Spam risk, see? Spam risk. Oh, yeah. The other day, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday. The other day I was walking around out in St. Charles. I went to looking for some gigs, and I stopped in a place right next to Main Street Honky Tonk. I was checking out to see if because they have bands in there, so I didn't know if I might be able to get a gig in there. And there was a place next door. What was the name of it? The something. And they were playing I Don't Like Mondays. I went in to kind of ask them, hey, what's going on? You know, Do you ever know if they're closed next door? Because they say they're open from 11 to 2 or whatever it is, 11 to 1, whatever. And I said, and they're closed. And he's like, yeah, we don't know anything about that place. And I said, okay, that's cool, no problem. I said, great song though. They were playing I Don't Like Mondays by Boomtown Rats. And I said, great song. He goes, yeah, that's, you know, the gal here, she sets up whatever we're listening to. And I said, well, that's cool. And then she came walking through, very charming young woman. And I complimented her on the song of playing that song. And she goes, oh yeah. She goes, I really like this song. And I said, have you ever heard the album? And for anybody who doesn't quite know what album that is, The Fine Art of Surfacing, if you've never heard that album with I Don't Like Mondays. I said, well, check it out. It's a great record. Fine Art of Surfacing, 1979. And then I told her a little trivia for you. I said, that album was produced by the same guy who produced Back in Black. And Def Leppard stuff, too. And The Outlaws. And... All right. So, of course, we have Van Halen for the V, right? That's awesome. I love that. I've got a big old poster of this that's on a really nice kind of parchment cardstock or paper stock, shall we say? Because it's a little thicker and it's really nice. But it's huge. And it says Van Halen is watching you. And so I really want to get that framed up. Then there it is, UFO. That's who we chose for the UFO from the album Phenomenon. The cover that is. We're getting close. Look at this. Now, sometimes I also like to do, oh, yeah, huh, that's funny. I have my FCC license on here for when I worked on the radio. Fortunately, we got a couple of copies, so that's what this is right there. So we got a couple of copies of that. So I had one that I laminated, but it went to shit somehow. I don't remember how, but I had an extra copy, and so I did it. Now W, who could you do for W? Who would you do? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can think of anybody else. I mean, this one just came to mind because I love this band. I love this record. However, I do not have this record on vinyl, and I want one. So I got my buddy over there, Stu Corden. Hopefully one day maybe he can find me one there at the shop there in Nottingham, and set me up, man. I really want a copy of this on vinyl. I've got them all on CD, and I've got 2 of them on vinyl. But that is Wayward Sons. And this album, this is their first album, Ghosts Have Yet to Come. If you've not heard them, even though I talk about them all the time, if you've not heard Wayward Sons, let me just open this one for you so you can see it. There you go. Ghosts Have Yet to Come. If you haven't heard this, do it now. Do it now. You know what? I'd even say shut me off and go and do it. Who the hell would say that? In the middle of your show, who the hell would tell you to shut it off and go and listen to an album? I would. They're worth it. They are worth it. Also be ready. I'm getting ready to record a little bit of a promo for the album. Of course, I appear on the album in a spoken word piece. But get ready, man, because this Blitz album, Blitz out of the UK, speaking of UK bands, Wayward Sons, Blitz. I tell you what, I'm serious. I kid you not. I kid you not. I am very proud to be a part of this new Blitz album. It's called Rock City Symphony. There's, I'm telling you, this is their album, man. This is the one. If I remember right, I think this is their 4th. They may have had an EP and I think 2 other. So But damn, it's great. You're gonna love it. So buy it, find it, buy it. You'll get a comic book as well that goes with it. You know, Wayward Sons did that too. They had comics with theirs too, but theirs wasn't like theirs was like kind of like the Great Affairs did one too. If you haven't heard the Great Affairs, do that too. I'm just trying to feed you full of stuff that you could be listening to, especially if you like what they call like some great. I don't want to use this, and I don't really know the full extent of this phrase or this term, but Americana rock. I always say if you like Tom Petty, especially even when it's, you know, say some of the harder Tom Petty stuff that you like, however hard that was, but check out the Great Affairs. They just have it's a great groove. 10 and 2 is it? I guess that's it. We did it. So of course we had to do ZZ Top for Z, because they have one of the most iconic Z's. I could have done Rob Zombie. He's got a good Z in there, but I don't own Rob Zombie vinyl. So that left me with ZZ Top. Ba-ba. I mean, come on. It was a keychain, for crying out loud, thrown by a beautiful woman. Or used by one. They threw it to her. Is that right? Yeah. And legs, right? And then, of course, X and Y, I just use yes. Because who do you do for X? I mean, you have to do X, right? But I don't own any X vinyl. But I have yes, and X and Y need to go together because it just doesn't populate that much. And I'm not going to go right next door, put another one in. All right. So oftentimes what I do is I get things ready for other projects too. So when I bought this t-shirt recently at Menards, don't be surprised if I start saying that on here. I'll say, hey, Menards. But anyway, I bought this shirt, which was a Shelby shirt. And so then I keep these tags, and then I'll make a magnet out of it. You just put stuff on the back and make a magnet out of it, or a sticker, whatever you want. So I oftentimes will keep stuff like that. Now, I had my laser discs in with my stuff, in with my vinyl, right, recently. So I had made a laser disc, but it's I don't need it now. So there. So there's that. But yeah, look at that. My radio license. Those were the days. Those were the days. One of my favorite times, I don't know if I've told you guys about this, but my favorite time was when I was running late. I woke up late on a Saturday morning, and I was supposed to be at the station at 5:30 so that I could turn everything on so it could warm up. All the transformers could warm up. Right? Nope. I woke up. I think I woke up it was 7 minutes to 6, and I threw myself out of bed and ran to the guy. I got all I had on was a shirt, underwear, and pants. That was it. No shoes. And I took off for the station. I got there and just acted like nothing happened. I waited because I got there before it was time to do the news. So I'm like, you know what? Forget it. Just leave it. Get everything all set up. Then boom, turn on the news and act like nothing ever happened. And then read your weather and move on to the music. So, yeah. I used to like to talk about the different bands and stuff. I don't know if I've told you guys about that. I used to talk about all the bands that I played, like Rod Stewart, talk about a little bit about Journey, just sometimes I knew stuff about the bands that were kind of cool. So he just kind of threw down on that. Well, I got a request from my head DJ who called me into his office one day, and he said, you know all that stuff you talk about before the songs? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, people don't give a shit. I was like, wow. They don't give a shit, he said. I'm like, okay. So, yeah. So I didn't say anything that night extra. And then Monday morning, I went in and I said, hey, I wanted to thank you for telling me about my show and about doing that stuff. I said I didn't do any of it, and I had the best show possible the other night. So there you go. Because I actually did. Honestly, I did. I had it was great because I wasn't mucking it up with anything, you know, even though I thought I was being a dick about it. And I was like, fine, I won't say anything. So at the time, that's how I felt about it, but it turned out great. So got to be honest, right? Got to be honest. All right. So I'm not going to try to match these or anything to like right here, I have the S. So I'm not going to try to match that. I'm just going to put it on here. So I think I'm going to, since you can see that it's a little different, I've got a little space at the bottom and a little at the top. Maybe I just leave that. What do you think? Should I just center it like that? Well, no, because this curves here, and this doesn't. There's a curve and not a curve. So if I knock this down just a little bit, make it even with the bottom. Yeah, I'll make it even with the bottom because then that leaves me at the flat. So I brought my glue stick. Why? Because you can glue stuff with it. But where'd I put it? I think I buried it. Where'd I bury it? There it is. Anybody going to go see any concerts too? I mean, let me know if you're going to go to any concerts. Is there somebody you wish you would have seen? Like when we lost Ozzy and maybe you hadn't ever gotten the chance to see him before. Let me know about that. I did see it. I saw him a few times. We already talked about that. If you want to know about it and you didn't hear it, I'll tell you about it later. If you want to hear it, you just let me know. Iron Maiden is a band I'd probably like to see again one more time. First tour I saw of theirs was Number of the Beast, which was the last tour with their original recording drummer, and it was the first tour with Bruce Dickinson. It's the weirdest thing. Clive Burr wrapped up on that tour on drums, and then I saw them next, shall I say. I saw them next on the Peace of Mind tour. And that's when we had a connection to the band, and we ended up going backstage that year. So that was really, really super cool. Never take that one for granted. That was, wow. And then I mentioned it on the show before. How long ago? I don't know. But I ended up making a phone call at 6 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday to England, to to Tyne and Wear, and ended up talking with the gentleman who set us up the first time and just saying, we have our tickets already. We just could use some passes if you could work that out. Because he knew Andy Taylor, which was one of their managers. And so sure enough, we got there and I ended up with an extra ticket because not only were there passes there, but they also had the tickets. which was very nice. It was very nice. Did I do this right or did I do this wrong? Oh, God. Oh, thank God you can pull this stuff off of this glue now and again. Oh, my Lord. It was tough to... Yeah, boy, okay. First time's a charm, right? First time is the only charm about the first one is that you screw it up and you can fix it. That's the only charm about that, is that you make sure you don't screw it up anymore. Let's get that tacked down. I wonder if I have something heavy would be good on top of this to make sure that it stays in place. I just wondered, I might have to use a stronger glue or just use more glue. Might go through a couple of glue sticks on this project, huh? I probably ought to just try using my double stick tape, which is in the other room, which I'm sure you would excuse me for just a moment if I wanted to go and get that. Everybody can go take a pee break. Because that double stick tape would work a lot better on this. Better than the glue, I think. Because it's immediate, first of all. I don't have to worry about it drying. All right. You know what? Let's play our song. Because Mr. Durbin's got that song that he did. So hang on, here we go. Enjoy. I'll be right back, and we'll get back to this. Hold on.
That changed me to my core, drifting to
that is some cool stuff, right? Thanks again, JW Durbin, for that, man. That's just that's a lot of fun. It's partial tribute to this show, partial tribute to my band, partial tribute to Go Game Go. So it's kind of cool. It's really cool. But yeah, a lot of fun. So I got my tape. This stuff is fantastic. My friend gave this to me years ago to put together a banner that I had made, that I had designed and that he had printed for me. And I tell you what, man, this stuff is awesome. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the brand name on it, so I don't know whether it's 3M or who made it, but it's good shit. It's some sticky shit. So there you go. Just one piece there, and then I'll just put a, probably another piece here. Yeah, I guess it should go the whole length of that. And wrap, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. I don't want to use up the whole thing, but yeah. Let me know too if you are into Yes. Have you ever been a Yes fan? I'm a big Yes fan, which I guess makes me a Yes man. There are certain, Yes was a band, or is a band now, that has been through so many different eras. I mean, it's kind of an interesting one. Of course, there's my big favorite part about it, about when the Buggles joined the band after they had some issues after Tormato, and that was cool, and that culminated in one of my favorite albums, which is a winter album to me, and that is Drama by Yes. I really enjoy that record. It's got some great songs. I remember when the videos came out, and I remember seeing the Tempest Fugit video at my friend Kurt's house. That was really cool. I'm like, holy crap, there's a video for this song. I love this song. So, and then years later, I had a friend of mine, Gil, Mr. Gilbert, and Joe was, I don't know, we were sitting around playing some bass, and he started in on a bass line from either Tempest Fugit, I think it was that bass line, or it was into the, I don't know what it was, but it was from that Drama record, and I'm like, dude, I can't believe you're playing that bass line. That's fantastic. Chris Squire, fantastic. Thank God he wasn't one of the guys that was out of the band at the time, because that's really what helped that record stay alive, is having Chris Squire still there, because Rick Wakeman had left, and John Anderson had left, and the Buggles came in and saved the day. And then, of course, Jeffrey Downs left and did Asia. We've been through all that. Oh, monkey fudge. This is going to be tough now. You know why? Because I didn't grab my X-Acto knife over there. And this stuff, oh, but look, let's see if this will work. I got my knife here. For those of you who may have missed it, I'm also eager to know out there, anybody who is a vinyl collector. I was talking a little bit of vinyl yesterday with Rob Hussey from Cyanide. And we were chatting about what we have, what we don't have, and what we'd like to get. And I realized recently when I was talking about the Rod Stewart show that I had this. I love this. And I just listened to the whole album on streaming the other day just to see how it was. But I found that $10 was a sealed copy of that. And then the other one that I really was glad to get a hold of, it's a relatively good copy. I don't know how great the vinyl is, but I will find out sometime soon after I clean it a little bit. And that is this Atlantic Crossing album by Rod Stewart. And I listened to this on streaming the other day too, and I liked it. It's good record. But the album cover is done by Peter Lloyd, who also did multiple Kansas records. He's the one that did the Kansas logo. So yeah, he did Song for America. He also did Point of No Return, and did Audio Visions as well. I'm not gonna be able to use that, so we'll see if we can pull it. Maybe what we'll do is I'll just keep putting tape on these, and we'll just go that way. So yeah, tell me what some of the favorite vinyl that you have. Tell me about anything you'd like. Just chime in about your favorite vinyl. Maybe something you're looking to get. A first piece of vinyl for some of us who are, of course, these days, I mean, anybody could have their first vinyl. My daughter told me the other day, I was telling her I had this turntable here, and she goes, "Oh, you could give that to me." So that might be the case. Her brother's been getting into the vinyl, and my grandson is digging the vinyl, and so I think the heart's warming up to it. I think everybody wants vinyl. I don't know, at least in my family. It is an interesting thing, though, when you get back to vinyl. The thing I've noticed is that once you get back into it, once you've done streaming and once you've done CDs, it can be a little tedious. You really got to be, you really kind of got to be all in to do the vinyl thing because of, like I say, because of streaming and CDs. It makes it kind of interesting because you're like, I should, maybe what I ought to do is clean up this area a little bit, and I could turn the camera down and you guys can see what I'm doing here. Get my coffee out of the way. But you kind of get into listening to the vinyl again, and you realize you got to remember, okay, it's going to play this many songs, and then you have to get up and you got to flip it over to play the other ones, which is fine, but it is a thing that you have to do. So I think sometimes, people get back into it and they're like, yeah, but I got to flip it over. And I remembered, so cassette players, they eventually would make them so that they would, play the other side. They would just and play the but it I don't know. So let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can move the camera down, unless you guys want. I don't know. Maybe I should just leave it. I'll move it. I'll tell you what. I'll move it down far enough that you can see kind of what I'm doing here a little bit more while I'm trying to get this tape on here. I just don't want to be sitting there and you don't see what I'm doing. So this tape is really sticky. So you got to be ready to rock, because if it grabs the paper and you're not ready, then you get a sticky mess. And if you start it at an angle, you're screwed. There. I did it. Good. I was just kind of concerned whether or not that was going to make it to the end. So anyway, great double stick tape. I'm going to have to get another roll because this stuff is gold to me. I've been using it for everything. When I do any of this kind of craft stuff, it always comes up. I just moved everything. And where'd I put my scissors? There they are. So, yeah, when you hear Wayward Sons, when you're checking them out, we do a song. There's a song in our song list. We don't always play it, but it's what was in the 90s. They were doing it, and it was called the hidden track on a CD, right? So you would Alanis Morissette is probably one of the, as far as popular albums are concerned, hers is probably the most famous, with a secret extra track at the end. When she has that creepy little tune where she goes into the ex-boyfriend's abode, shall I say. So I don't know if it's an apartment or a house. I don't remember. So yeah, there's the whole album plays, and then there's silence, but you notice that your CD player is still playing. You're like, why is it still playing? And then all of a sudden a song comes on. You're like, whoa. So in the case of Alanis, it was really kind of creepy because she kind of comes in low with the vocals, but not Wayward Sons. It just comes storming in at the end of theirs. It's just ba 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 ba. You know, it's great. I love it. It's one of those songs my drummer has to count it in, because I'm like, we gotta know. No, we're not gonna go ba 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 all at the same time. All right. So this is where sometimes I'm kind of like, do I just cut a bunch of pieces and have them ready? Because that's kind of the way I get to being. I get to be factory minded. When you're listening to Wayward Sons, it's great to just hear the album. They did some videos. They did a few videos for each album. The first one were for Ghosts of Yet to Come. They did a bunch of videos for it was all like a the Walking Dead. It was all zombie stuff, and they were being sought after by a bunch of zombies, and each member of the band played a different kind of character, and it was pretty cool. And that's how I first saw them. And then on the next record, it was more kind of a political thing with clowns and stuff like that. So however, when I was checking out the videos, it was fine, but I didn't get the, maybe it's just that I was more receptive to the zombies than I was the political clown thing. So, yeah, I don't know what it was, but when I saw the videos, I was like, okay. And then I was like, But then when I heard the record itself, just heard the record, the second record, it was great. It's fantastic. And I love it. I love the songs off of it. So I put those, when I did my streaming stuff, then I put them together, and it was just fabulous. I love hearing both records together, and I like mixing them. It's kind of like Judas Priest, where I told you, Firepower's a great record, and so is Invincible Shield. And just put them together, put them in the same playlist, and hit random, and just whatever. The songs sound great together, no matter what. So yeah. Truth ain't what it used to be. That's what that second one was called. And then their third album is fantastic as well. And then they technically had a fourth record too, that I still need. That one I still need to get a copy of. I missed out on a lot of, it's a lot of money with so many things going on, and I was talking to a lot of people, and it's just a lot of money to try to pay for so many records and stuff, and especially when you got to order them from across the pond, as they would say. As they would say, as they have said, as they shall say in the future. So there we go. All right. Everybody all right. Living Color. Who's into Living Color? It was really cool. I bumped into their guitar player when I was out at the NAMM show in, I don't know, 2007. And that was fantastic. And he and a friend of mine who worked for SLM are good friends because my friend's super technical, super smart guy, and he's an engineer. And so he would work on a lot of the amplifiers that he would use because he was an endorser, and just was great. And then I also bumped into their drummer, Will Calhoun, too. Over, I think it was at the Vic Firth booth area. Vic Firth was right across, their booth was right across from Ludwig. So, and I don't know if it's always like that, but the NAMM show is interesting. It's really, it was a great place for me. I like working my butt off for, what I need to do. And especially if it's in an environment where I have a lot of fun hanging out. And so, you'd go there and do your work and lug, we'd help set up the booth, and you'd lug amplifiers here and there. And, but while you're setting up, so was everybody else. So, I mean, I worked for the guys who had Crate and Ampeg. So we had a lot of other stuff too, but mainly I worked in the area where we worked with the amps and stuff like that. So I designed the look of some of the amps and stuff like that. So come on, there we go. But we had lots of stuff. But then everywhere else, there's Fernandez guitars, Gibson guitars, Fender, Schecter, and then you've got the string companies that are around, and then you've got other amp companies, Marshall. Everybody's there. So then they have the one booth I remember a lot of people. Well, there's a couple of them. But those were the string booths. Like Dean, the Dean Guitars booth they had lots of cool people there. Michael Schenker, I met him there. Vinnie Moore was there at that booth. Awesome Shredder, who then went on to play for UFO, and then I've recently seen him here in town doing his solo tour, opening for Lynch Mob. And fantastic show. Was it Lynch Mob? No. Paralandra opened for Lynch Mob. He opened for King's X. That was a great show. King's X, man. Anybody into King's X? I know that you are. Somebody out there is totally into King's X. All right. There goes our autographed ones. Get that cut off there. And like I say, I might let me see if I can get a hold of my hopefully special guest, Alan, and we can get him on here, because I still have trouble with the time zone thing. Now I will be done before he arrives. How about that? All right, there we go. All right. So yeah, any King's X fans out there? We have any Tragically Hip fans out there? If you are, you're probably Canadian. That's a band that I don't think I realized at the time was such a big band in Canada, or as my friend used to say, Canada. where the Canadians are from. And then I got to realize that they did that film where their lead singer had cancer and he was dying, and they did the last tour before he passed, and it was really getting to him before he passed. So so check that film out. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but such a good film about the tragically hip. I'll look it up for you. I need to do that because you need to see it. It's a good flick. Whoop. There we go. All. Let's see here. Because I saw them off their, I think it was their first record. I saw them here. Maybe it was their third record. Let's go with the discography. Yeah, no, I think it was their third album, fully, completely. Is that right? Let's see it. What's Up to Here? Nope. No, it was their first record, Up to Here. It came out in '89. And so then they came through. They played the same place the King's X played. First time I ever saw them. And then, yeah, they had, then they subsequently had a bunch of albums after that. And let's see if we can find where it was that, let's see. Yes, here it is. So Downey's brother, documentary filmmaker Mike Downey, directed the 4-part television documentary series The Tragically Hip No Dress Rehearsal, which premiered on September of 2024. That can't be right. And would later be released on Amazon. 2024. That cannot be right. I don't think that's right. That's on Wikipedia, and I don't think that's right. The band were named the influence as an influence by several Canadian musicians and bands across multiple genres, including Dallas Green, Chaos, and Kevin Drew. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, it doesn't seem right. So, yeah, it was because I've seen that years ago. It wasn't just then. But yeah, do check that out. It's a multi-part show. Got a hold of Alan. I think he's going to pop on here. He says, give me a minute. Because we were hoping that maybe Pat, his bass player, would be there as well. But again, I said time zones. I hate that. Drives me nuts. I know exactly what I'm talking about when it starts. And then after that, then it's like, whoops, sorry about that. So we're on sticks right now as we're moving along here. Trying to go a little different direction. I'm trying to get these wrapped up. And of course, it's just a little dim back here, so it's not the best working condition for me. I almost tried to do this at my desk, but I'll get that figured out. And we'll do some more. We'll actually do some more things that are not here in the studio. And that includes going up to my newly remodeled kitchen, and we'll do some cooking up there at some point. Made some kebabs the other night. Those were really good. I love kebabs. I don't love putting everything on it. Do you like onions? Who likes onions out there? I'm not an onion fan. Although my son cooked down some onions the other day when we went up to visit. And, well, it happened again, folks. It's like I say, when you get this tape on this paper, it is stuck. So that one's just going to have to be the way it is right now. Not proud of that, but that's the way it goes. So anyway, but he cooked down some onions to use in tacos. Fantastic. Almost bought some rice today to go with some tacos. I'm really dying to make some tacos. I love them, but I don't love all the stuff. I mean, that's the big part. I like to make up some black beans and some rice, and I like the cheese and a little bit of salsa. But again, no onion, no sour cream, no lettuce. Don't do that. I'd like to. I know it's probably good for you, but I don't. Just looking forward to getting back on my bike, that's for sure. Does anybody like to bike ride? I love doing bike riding because I did it a lot when I was a kid, and I listened to music constantly while I did it. There was my bike and my transistor radio. And then later, I think back in the day, it probably cost $7.99, I think, maybe at the 5 and dime. But I bought, and you can look at it. You can look it up out there. Put in, oh, there you go. All right, see, thank you, Torso. Somebody from the other camp. Onion are good. So, hey, here's my guest. What's shaking, brother?
All right, I got to turn up the volume here. I don't have my computer on. It's not happy.
You sound fine. Yeah.
Or Microsoft Outlook.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's not happening.
Mr. Alan Cuxer, ladies and gentlemen, from Rev It Up. I should have worn my Rev It Up shirt.
Right on. I got my Gazaris.
That's sweet. That's awesome. I had to wear my Burning Witches because I was talking about their new albums coming out.
Oh, right on.
And I put in Courtney Cox put a thing out there the other day, and I said something about her being a lovely redhead, and she goes, or a ginger, and she goes, I am not a ginger. I am a strawberry blonde. And I was like, is there a difference? And she says, oh yeah, there is. So I'm like, well, let's discuss that on Hammer Away.
Right on.
Yeah, I had a chance
to hang out. I don't hear you too well. I got the phone cranked, so.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, so you guys were there at the whiskey the other night.
Great
tell us
show.
About the show.
Yeah, well, it was all nerves. Our drummer showed up like 2 minutes before we're supposed to go on stage.
You're kidding.
I was so nervous that
what happened?
We don't want to get into that.
Okay, so
we didn't even ask. We were just like, oh my! When he showed up, we were all so much better. Knowing that we had a drummer, because that would have been a nightmare.
You know what, dude? I've been there. My buddy, that we were in a band together for years, and then there was one night he showed up 30 minutes before the show and had to set up. I was like,
they backlined the drums, and they had it on the floor of the stage, not the drum riser, because of Faster Pussycat's drummer. It's got his kit all set up there. So yeah, he was able to get it on, and we got on in time, get his cymbals and snare all set up. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great audience. And as you know, some people were singing our songs out of key. So, but it was great to have the audience reaction and interaction.
You know what?
And I had a great time. This is the first time I brought my Soldano SLO 30. That it's a new amp for me. Yeah. The reason I got it is the fact that it's pretty light and easy to carry down 2 flights of stairs. Because the whiskey, you got to bring your stuff from the dressing room downstairs, and then it's all in a crowded little tiny hallway, and then it floats down to another stairwell to the stage.
Wow.
So I was fortunate to have Frank and Dennis Hines give me a hand. So one of them carried the Fractal FM9 pedal board already plugged in with all my snake, for the effects loop, and then the other one carrying the head with the power cord and the speaker cable, and the guy from the whiskey who was assisting said, "You're ready to go." So I turn on, nothing, no sound, and I look back at the cabinet, and it's not plugged in.
Oh,
it's like, right, I'm ready to go, but yeah, because he's the one who unplugged the other cabinet. He didn't realize he didn't plug it into my head. So, but thankfully it came on and it sounded fantastic. That little 30-watt head screams, as just being a little amp. I think it's the cutest amp Soldano has ever come up with. And it really made me feel comfortable, myself, as if I was playing on the 100-watt heads. I just felt the same. I did wish the whiskey gave me just a little bit more volume, but I heard some recordings and it sounds like I came across well. And when you're standing on stage, everyone in the floor has a different sound than what you're hearing, and it's always questionable.
You're absolutely right.
What they're hearing, it's because you can't hear what they're hearing. So, but it went off great. The backup vocal mics were working fine, and the drummer did a great job, and Steve Anisi, the vocalist, did a great job. It was a great show, and Patrick did a great job on bass as well. So it was a lot of fun, definitely. And then we had the 9 o'clock slot. I think there was at least one more band before Faster Pussycat came on.
Yeah.
And they did great. I kept trying to find what's his name? The guitar player.
Sam Van Colton.
Yeah, I kept trying to find Sam, and I went to their t-shirt vendor gal, who I think actually danced on stage too. Oh, he's not here yet. He's not here yet. He's not here yet. And I kept looking around for him, and their room, of course, has a key lock on the door, where ours is just a curtain hanging that you just can walk through into the dressing room, right? And you got to share it with. There was pretty much only one other band that we had to share it with, but there were 6 or 7 bands that night.
What?
So it was well orchestrated. But I'll also comment that today, was it last night? One of the other bands was texting me that they're missing a guitar.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's like the worst thing, that you leave your stuff in the dressing room, and you would expect everyone to respect that piece of gear. I do remember at one time there was some guy I didn't know in there, and he seemed like an older cat, and he seemed okay, but it was a little iffy because he was in there with nothing and he left with nothing because I walked in the room. So maybe this is a problem person. So from now on, I know when I go in the dressing rooms, I'm going to be asking, "Hey, who are you and which band are you in?"
Yeah.
So I know who's there. But it's it's really hard to have your favorite gear sit in a room and wonder, is it going to still be there when you get back? And it looks like they lost a Telecaster. So sad to say. I'm just saying this for other people to know, to know your surroundings and try to get to know the people that you're with. Unfortunately, there's the bad people out there.
Yeah, and never be afraid to be honest about it. Just say, if you're asking who they are, and just be honest and go,
right.
What? Last time I was here, somebody lost a guitar. So I'll be keeping an eye on anybody that comes back here. That's why I'm asking, because it happened last time.
Also, just for those that are listening, I recommend the hotel we stay at. This is my second time, and you can Google Hotel Ziggy, and it's a rock and roll environment. The floors have a lot of cabinets with guitars and gear, all types of gear in the walls.
Wow. Man.
Yeah, Hotel Ziggy. Look it up if you're going to go visit Hollywood. It's about a 15-minute walk to the whiskey. There's great places that I've had that we had breakfast, and this one place actually made a cup of coffee or latte, what have you, for my bass player's wife, Lydia.
Yeah.
And what they did was on top of the coffee, they put our logo. I don't know how they did it in color. So it looked like our logo was sitting on top of a cup of coffee.
What?
Yeah, that's cool. I'll send you a picture later. I don't know if I can.
That's one hellacious barista.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So that was cool. I had a great time. I saw some of my old friends, and
that's cool.
It was really great. And I actually visited one of the factories I work for yesterday. Marathon Power.
Yeah.
You need a UPS. Marathon Power is it. And the other factory I work for is called Feller, Feller. They make power cords. So Feller was on stage at the whiskey because my power cords, some of them are Feller. And I'm actually talking to the boss over there at Marathon because they do a lot of power cleaning. The input power, it's called double conversion topology, where it takes the input power and it makes it the right voltage and it cleans it up from any noises. So we're trying to think of some ways to make a great unit for the music industry other than what's out there I've seen are real expensive to the consumer items, but they're really low cost items. So hopefully Marathon Power will have something that can be used in the music industry.
Yeah, that can stay economical for the musicians.
I have my guest star barking that I'm going to have to take care of. Let's see if we can find her.
It was pretty wild yesterday. I was talking with Rob. He's over in Vegas. He was, hey there, how are you?
She has a guitar on her face. You see the marking?
That's beautiful. That's right.
She's back.
I love having dogs on the show.
So this is Louie's Park, and that's Louie, and she's the boss, the manager.
She's the boss.
Who
was
is
watching after Louie while you were gone?
I had a friend. I'll say her first name because she wants me to say her name's Patricia, and very cool. She stayed here and watched the house and all that, so I don't have to worry about it. It's about a 5.5 hour drive each way, and everything worked out perfect. So that's the great news. No big accidents. There were accidents, thankfully for me, on the other side of the freeway going the other way. So that would have been a problem. And we rehearsed over, I'll plug them, Nightingale Studio in Burbank. A lot of bands practice there. But for those who are looking for a decent place to jam, Nightingale's, which is odd. I don't know if I told you before. I lived in an apartment about 2 blocks away from Nightingale's 30 years ago or 35 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I drive by that apartment building all the time when I go to Nightingale's, and it looks exactly the same except for the Ring camera that they put on the side of the building.
Do you have only good memories of that place, or are there some really crappy ones?
Well, there's one gal memory, a girlfriend that I thought was my girlfriend from St. Louis. She actually left me when I was in that apartment and went to the bus stop. And before she went to the bus stop, I asked her what she was doing.
Yeah.
And she's going to go hang out with this recording engineer that I worked at his studio, basically cleaning it up and wrapping wires and stuff when I took her there once. And she dumped me and went to him. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's the bad memory. Other than that, the good memories are my mom actually was in that building in my apartment. I have a picture of her somewhere. And by the way, that show, August 16th, was her birthday. So to me, that was pretty cool.
Wow.
That was her day. And she saw us play at the Roxy back in, I think it was 91.
Wow.
Yeah, when she was alive. Yeah. With my dad.
Yeah, I wish I could have made that show. You know how badly I wanted to be there.
Yeah, I thought that would have been really cool to hang out with you and go out through all the motions and you to be, there as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll happen though again.
I thought about it. I thought, maybe I'd get me a flight that goes out, Saturday morning after I see that Rod Stewart show. And I'm like, I just was like, I better not. And I'll tell you what, the Rod Stewart show was great.
Oh, I bet.
He was fantastic. Cheap Trick was pretty good. There was a couple of things that happened during the show that I was like, okay. So it wasn't as good as the last time I'd seen them, but they were still great. I mean, it was still great to see them. They had a lot of energy still, and all that stuff. Drummer was great and everything. So there was a bass solo that I was like, but I don't know. A lot of multi-strings going on there on the bass. And I was like, I think he just kind of got these maybe. And, they were just going, we need a couple of minutes. So just try it out a little bit. And then I was like, could have been a little tighter, could have been a little whatever, but it was all right. But the venue, it's terrible being at the venue.
All right.
It was bad.
Go ahead. I was going to tell you when I met Sam.
Yes, please.
Right at the ending, the band left the stage, and he stayed on stage, and he's kneeling down on at his pedal board, and he's got this echo.
Yeah.
And he let the echo just ring, 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 ring. So it's ding, 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 ding. And he let it go for like a whole minute, and then he walked back up to the pedal and he sped up the repetitions. And then he goes to the amp and he shuts it off, and then the crowd starts clapping. I'm on the top floor, the whiskey.
Yeah.
The top floor is how you get up into the dressing room. So I know he's going to come by, and obviously I have dressing room pass, right?
Right.
So I walk over there, and there he is. And I go, hey, dude, I went to Green Trails High School. I went to Parkway Central.
Yeah.
And my name's Alan. And he goes, oh, I can barely talk, but hey, cool. That's really cool. And that was pretty much it.
That was it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. But that's how. Oh, but no, wait a minute. Sorry. But my friend Stu wanted to say hi, and I showed him my phone with your text. But I also have another friend named Stuart Massey, the bass player, who also told me to say hi to him. So he got a double Stu. So he knows two Stewarts.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, Stu's a good buddy of mine too. And he played one of the last things he did. Well, I mean, I won't say that, but that's not the way to say it. Another band that he played in was my friend Melissa Niels, who's getting ready to get back out there again.
All right.
She had kind of a bit of a tragedy in their family happened, and things got, cattywampus, and she had to step away for a while. But she's recorded a few records that she has. She's a local artist here, and I worked with her at the school. And Stu, in the last iteration of her band, Stu was the bass player. And super cool guy. Super cool. I even have video. I'll send you a video. I did a couple of tracks with them at her CD party years ago. So I sang a couple of things while he played bass. And,
yes, Stu played bass when we were kids. I think we were about 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was I'm always learning how to play guitar. So we were playing covers. I think think they were all covers, if I remember right. And there was another guy. He told me Ron's last name was Sanderson. He played guitar too.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And then there was Tony on drums. Italian last name.
See, I think we talked about that guy before because I was like, is it this guy? And you're like, no, it's not that guy. But I was like, okay, because it's kind of interesting because he was, you know, it's that same kind of situation where he plays drums, but he's also a lead singer.
Let me see from without moving the phone on my computer if I can tell you Tony's last name. He was a great double bass drummer. I think he was the first drummer I ever jammed with that really knew how to play double bass.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. I mean, because man, they just, I don't know. There's a lot of power behind that. My drummer doesn't do double bass, you know, and that's fine. You know, we don't need it. But I have played with guys who do that, and it's just like, damn, that's some smoking power sometimes, especially when you're playing live and you're not super concerned with playing like the record, everything, you know. But that's just the way it is. You know.
Let me see if I can find his text. There's Stu.
It was
Oh
funny
yeah.
that,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it looks like he's thinking it was Antonelli, maybe. Does that sound familiar? Tony Antonelli.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
And Ron Sanderson. And then we played with a drummer by the name of Joe Longy, who passed away.
Oh, okay.
He told me like 20 years ago, Joe Longy passed away. So anyways, that's when we were kids.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think I was more into like more commercial rock in those days, and they were more into the heavier stuff, and I wasn't quite into it yet.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe a different direction, but we tried, and he was Stu was a really cool cat to me, and it was a good time.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember I had friends of mine they all played something, and I would go and hang out with them when they'd jam, and sometimes I sang, you know, but not often. I think I don't know if they were ever really going to try to do anything with it or not, but you know, and my technique was nowhere. So we were trying to do Montrose, and I'm like, yeah, I can do what I do, but I didn't have any technique, you know, and that's huge. You know, when you're doing vocals, you got to have technique. If you're doing certain stuff, if you're singing whatever, your technique isn't as important. I'm just saying, it's just the way it is. If you're singing easy stuff, then it's not a big deal. But if you're doing some Sammy Hagar or something like that, you better have some technique or you're screwed.
Right.
You know, you're never going to get there, and you're going to burn yourself out fast. You know, that's really part of it too, is where you're going to burn your vocals out and you won't have anything, you know. Like when people are like, you should do some AC/DC. I'm like, sure, if I don't want to sing for the rest of the night.
Right.
Because that's not what I do. And I'll just tear my throat up and, you know, and I won't have anything for the rest of the night. So it's dangerous. You know, it's one of those things. But
Stu had a mutual friend, Fred Allmeyer. Do you know him?
Fred Allmeyer?
Yeah. Does that ring a bell?
Sounds familiar.
He's not a musician, but I think they went to school together. I don't remember the history, but maybe Fred introduced me to Stu, but I know that we have that mutual friend.
Well, it was funny because yesterday when I was talking to Rob's last name is Hussey, Hussey. And for whatever reason, I was thinking Stu Massey. All of a sudden I was thinking it was Massey, and I put that as the last name. And he's like, oh, you don't have my name. Or we started the show, and he's like, oh, my name's wrong there. I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah. I said, the beauty of it is, dude, is I'm the graphic designer for this show. I'll change it on the fly, and by the end of the show, it'll be fixed. So when I put that graphic back up, it won't be a problem. Are you a Yes fan?
I totally love Yes. Although I think I've only seen them in videos, not in live.
Yeah, I saw them on the Big Generator tour. That was pretty cool.
If I remember, I saw them at the. It was like a constellation in St. Louis. How they lit up the ceiling with lights and stuff, and they played Yes to it.
That's cool.
What was that called?
In the planetarium?
Yeah. Do they still do that?
I think so. I did a Pink Floyd one here, but I did one up in Peoria when I was growing up. We had it there too, and so I did one there too. But yeah, I did Pink Floyd here at the Science Center. Yeah, those were cool. Those were the days, man. You're like, I wonder if they do those anymore. Right. I don't know. I don't think they do, but they might.
Well, San Jose, California, which is about 14 miles north from where I live.
Yeah.
They have this festival that's in the city, and they close off a few blocks of downtown, and the clubs in the area open up their stages to bands, and then they have bands playing in the streets, and they actually have sofas in the streets, and it's called a Sofa Street Fair.
There you go.
We got invited to it this year, so we'll be playing that next Sunday, September 28th. Wrap it up, and then we're going to play a Halloween show out in Sunnyvale, California.
Really?
A place called the Quarter Note.
And you're going to do that on Halloween?
Yeah, on Halloween. That's a Friday this year. So that's our two next gigs that we're doing for sure.
That's cool.
I'm talking with Jake about over at the Whiskey about gigs next year. Although he offered us a show with the Lynch Mob, but it's on a Wednesday.
Okay.
And we'd get the 9:00 slot again. I'd love to do it, but it's everybody else. It's a weeknight. And even though I have to drive, I would make it a holiday or a vacation day from work.
Right. Yeah.
Like right now, I'm taking a break from my work to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, that's my next gig is on a weeknight too. I got it next month. We got a Thursday night gig at a Harley Davidson dealer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Just nice 6 to 9. So that should be cool. And then my
what city is that?
What's that?
What city?
St. Louis.
In downtown?
Yeah, it's it's actually called St. Louis Harley Davidson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's down south. It's off of Lee Ferry. You know where that is.
What do they serve to drink? 4-stroke oil?
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
That's why I'm bringing my own cooler.
Oh, okay.
It is interesting though, because I pulled up there because I was out and about a couple weeks, like last week I was out and about, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive by there so I know where it is. I got there and I'm like, wait a minute. My first band was going to play here years ago, and it poured down rain. It was horizontal rain, and we had to shut everything down. And we didn't even get to start. We were getting everything set up, and then it just poured. And we're like, we gotta get this stuff put away because it's
all right.
If we get wet, there's no way we can play. These speakers will never withstand it. So, but I'm like, oh yeah, that was this place. I remember this pavilion thing. So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to going back. Hopefully it won't rain. I'm kind of notorious for that. I'm kind of notorious for bringing rain. So when it rains, I always apologize.
You have to come to California.
Yeah, right. And I would, there's so many times people go, oh man, you should go such and such and go here or there. I'm like, we're a St. Louis cover band. I don't think anybody's going to pay me enough to come all the way there, to do something, I wish they would. I would love to do that, but.
Well, maybe that lady, what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's saying that the government's controlling the weather. Well, now I know it's you.
It is me. It's me. I'm Thor. You get get all that thunder happening, you know who's bringing it. It's my fault. And I'm proud of it, damn it. It's not an easy thing to do.
So what are you working on there?
I'm doing my a project that I wanted to do with everybody out there for a long while. I put these together because I'm a graphic designer, and I did all of these different pieces like this from different musicians, different bands, different stuff, and from A to Z. And these are my vinyl dividers. So I got these old things from Files, and it's really thick. It's thick cardboard stock.
Right.
So I'm going to put these right on the end, and then the record will cover all this up, and you'll have this sticking out at the end, and you'll see that you're in the E section because of the ELOE. And so then I chose different bands all along the way. So we got Foghat, Halloween, Iron Maiden, and Genesis, and Judas Priest. We got Metallica and Pink Floyd. One of my favorite album covers of all time. I said they ran this when they did Weekend Warriors. They ran a full page ad in Playboy magazine. There's Rush and Queen and Styx.
What are you going to do with them?
Well, like I say, I'm going to put them on the end of these things.
What things?
These file pieces.
Right.
And then this will stick out the end, and the record will sit in front. Like
got it.
Yeah. Like
got
like that. Of course, that's Rod Stewart, but
right.
So it'll stick out the end like that, and you'll know where you are.
So who is Metal Torso? I read on my page.
Yeah, Metal Torso. He's a buddy of mine who we know each other kind of from my other channel, from Go Game Go. So
right on.
Yeah. So he and Salvatore pop in usually, or who was in here, and I don't know how I got that turned on again. I must have bumped the thing. Yeah, we talked about onions. Are you an onion fan?
You mean no? I guess a little bit, but
a little bit. Like in what way?
Like, are we talking about vegetables here or something else?
We're talking about vegetables.
All right. Green onion, yeah. Red onion, yeah. Third white onion. There's my order.
Okay. All right. Because I always talk about them being the most pretentious party goer on a pizza. I don't like them on a pizza because as soon as you bite into it, everybody shuts up. You can't hear anybody else but the onion. It's like, hi, I'm here. And everybody's like, shh. And they're like, no, it's okay. It's great. So I'm here. I'm an onion. And we're like, we know who the fuck you are. Shut up. And I know. But anyway, so, and then you're just like, man, I mean, it's like the pepperoni was talking just fine to the sausage. Sausage was doing just fine with the mushrooms. The green peppers know where they belong. But the onion is just like, shut up. And there's just nothing but the onion as soon as you bite into it.
Speaking of pizza, that hotel I was talking about, Ziggy, they have their own homemade pizza there, and they made me vegan pizza 2 nights in a row.
Oh, dude.
It is so good.
That's love.
Yeah, they're good.
Love. Man, when we went out to Gatlinburg, and we found this place, Jimmy's Pizza and I don't know, and barbecue, something like that. And oh my God, the pizza was so good. The crust was amazing. That's what you gotta bank on, the crust. And so good. One of the best pizzas I've ever had.
I'm not into the garlic clove stuff. That stuff is nasty loud to me. Yeah. It's too loud.
Yeah, it is. It's another one. It can be very loud.
I'd rather have the onion over the garlic.
I get that.
Whoa.
I get it. Because the garlic's kind of got a thing where it's like, it's its own entity. And you're like, what, whereas at least the onion, it's kind of meant to be what it is. But garlic trying to be like an onion, you're like, whoop, no. That's too much.
Have you ever heard of the Seventh Veil?
Yeah.
That used to be what's really close to this Hotel Ziggy. It's like 1 block away. Now it's still a strip bar. And it's in the video Motley Crue, Girls. Yeah. Of course, had to stop by and see it was still there.
Of course. It's just it's the city planner in you, right?
The single city planner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We have a song called Stephen Wants a Piece, and in the chorus, he'll go, Stephen wants a piece. Then he goes, Patrick, the bass player, wants a piece. And then we sing, Billy wants a piece. And then when we sing, Alan wants a piece, I'm like raising my hand. I got to see if I have that on video.
You're like, seriously, no, I do.
I'm like, yes, no, this one's for sure.
Yeah.
they're just talking.
It's like how many years after the song was a big hit that you start really listening to the end of Surrender and realizing he's saying all the band members' names, Rick's all right,
Right, yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, okay. Kind of like how some people still never pick up on the fact that that's the Police on Money for Nothing. It's the Police melody that he's doing the MTV thing to. It's some people still haven't quite heard it that way before. Yeah. So it's Don't Stand So Close to Me, and you're like, oh yeah, you didn't catch that? They're like, oh no, but yeah.
There were a couple of interesting characters in the whiskey. One of them, guitar player Michael Angelo Batista.
Yes.
Did I say it right? Batillo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there. I gave him fist pump. He was cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's interesting, but yeah, he's cool.
There was a Bret Michaels lookalike, or Bret Michaels was there. Nobody could figure it out. Everybody's still trying to say. It's kind of funny how I bumped into him. I literally bumped into him because I'm walking, and there's somebody walking side by side with me, and it's like, you go, I go. And then I go and he goes at the same time. You ever do that? And then you bump into each other twice, and then I finally walk away. I'm like, wait, is that Bret Michaels?
Yeah. Did he have the hat?
Yeah, he had the hat and some blonde gal with them, but we're all not sure that was really him or not. That's the question mark. And the girls were. Some of them barely dressed. I felt like I was over there at whatever that Seventh Veil is now.
Yeah, you're like, I thought I was still in the place.
One gal had high heels. They had to have been a foot. I mean, they were huge.
Out of here.
I'm serious. And she was walking in them like they were nothing.
That's talent.
That's what I was going to say. There was talent on the second floor.
That's beauty and talent right there. I hope I'm assuming she was pretty good looking, but
yeah, she was pretty cute. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's beauty and talent right there. Just when you think, well, wasn't it? Well, no. Dolly Parton always said it costs a lot to look this good or something like that. But you're like,
don't remember.
In her case, it was just like, no, it's a struggle to stay looking this hot when you got to wear these shoes, which I don't know. How did women ever get started wearing high-heeled shoes?
Yeah, I'm not the guy to ask. I
know. It's just one of those things where they're like, do you know what it's like? Well, I didn't ask you to do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you're like, I never asked you to start wearing those. I don't know. I suppose It's hard. I know it looks great, but I don't know. I don't. The worst thing I could wear that hurts are shitty shoes that come with a frickin' tux. I don't know. I don't.
Honestly, I don't know how Randy Rhoads could wear some of the boots he was wearing. They had quite a heel on them.
Yeah.
Like I can't. I'll fall forward.
Yeah. Well, you remember when we were growing up? We had those shoes that had a heel on them about like that.
Right.
They had those big rounded, wooden heel on the back of some of those dress shoes, and you're like, why the hell am I wearing these? What am I? What? Make no sense.
Speaking of Randy, remember the white dance shoe everybody wore? It wasn't with a heel. It was just a flat white shoe.
Yeah.
Remember that? I used to wear those. I remember that.
Yeah. I never did. It was always tennis shoes, barefoot. Really, I was barefoot most of the time.
My buddy Dennis plays barefoot. He's now in a band called Power Chord, and he puts a piece of carpet out there, and he's all barefoot.
Yeah. Hey, do you guys ever play over in Vegas at all?
Not us, not yet.
Okay. All right. The gentleman I was talking to yesterday, Rob Hussey, he's in a band called Cyanide, and that might be a good double up if you guys ever think about going over to Vegas.
Sure, have him.
Yeah.
Give him my number.
Okay, will do. Yeah, because I was just talking to Sam from Midnight Devils, and they tour over in England, and they're getting ready to go back to Australia, and opening for Trujillo's wife, her band. And so then I was telling him, I'm like, man, if you guys are going to go back over to England, you have to get together with Blitz. They're from England, and they tour through England up into Scotland, over to Ireland. So I'm like, they're right there, man. And they have this brand new album coming out, and it's like going to be kick ass too. And it's like, I said, you guys ought to just get a hold. I'll get you guys together, and you can just go over there, and they're right there. You don't have to worry about bringing anybody with you or how they're going to get there. No other bands. They're just all ready. They're ready to go right there then, So, but yeah. Well, I ran out of double stick tape. Damn it. So I'm gonna have to finish.
Some, but you're a little far away.
Yeah. Yeah. I did tell Sam though the other day. I said I'd love to come and be part of the crew in Australia. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you want to come up for the San Jose gig, let me know, because again, we're talking a bunch of bands. When I find out more about it, I'll share it with you.
Perfect. That's perfect. Well, good.
Okay, I got to get back to work too.
Thank you very much, buddy, for stopping by. I'm glad the show went well. I'm glad your drummer made it, for crying out loud, in time.
Yeah, I had a lot of what's the emotions, kind of stress emotions.
Oh yeah.
Until he showed up.
Yeah, and the toughest part for me is staying on the side of the offense where you're worried about them.
Right.
That's the toughest part, I think, because you're like, fuck, where are they? And you're like, well, I hope they're okay. I just hope they're alive, and I hope they're okay. But fuck, where are they? You keep jumping. Your nerves get you jumping the fence, and you're like, I don't want to be like that. I want to just be concerned about them. I don't want to wonder if they're dead, but I'm also wondering why they're not here. So that's the duality. So, well, Alan, thanks a lot for coming by, man. Everybody check out Rev It Up. And if you're out there in the California area there and you want to get ready to check out that show in September with all the sofas on the street.
There you go.
And then or the Halloween gig coming up. So
that's at the Quarter Note in Sunnyvale.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's not a huge bar, but it's a place, the Bay Area is getting harder and harder to keep clubs open. It's not like LA.
Interesting.
So it's somewhere for us to play original music.
Right. There it is. That's the other thing too. Playing all the original music. So That's cool. I'm glad they're embracing it out there, at least, to do that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, buddy, take it easy,
Thanks,
and then
bud.
I'll let you get back to it, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, brother.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, man. Bye.
Bye.
So, all right, folks. Well, then what I'm going to do is I will get the rest of this together, and be sure and jump in with us next time. We're going to be chatting about whatever is next on the board. I got some folks that Mr. Dave Tedder's going to be talking to me about getting on the show. So we have some of that, and then lots of other people, though. You know, that possibility of talking to Mike Varney for me is like, that was exciting idea too. I got to talk to Rob about that more, and because I would love to do that. In the meantime, keep it up. Let me know what's going on. Like and subscribe right down there in the bottom about who you'd like to hear about or what you'd like to hear about. And I'll be checking all of those out as I go along here, and we'll keep in touch. All right. Remember, as we always say, when you're out there in the world, you're in everybody else's world. They're not in yours. So act accordingly. You know, like when you're in a car and you're like in the passing lane, pass and get the hell out of the way. It's just my nice little way of saying, get out of the hell of the way. See, I said it totally different that time. That didn't make sense. You like that? All right, guys. Have a great one. Hope you enjoyed the show. We are going to be finishing these up, and I will show you some photos of those next time I'm on, because I will have these done, and we'll get it taken care of. All right. Take it easy, guys. See ya.